Side chat in the lounge. It was really, really great to go from presenting to sitting down and meeting with the community. It's really one of my favorite parts about how we're building our community is that you can come, watch, learn, see us explore, but then you yourself can actually come and share your feedback in real time and participate in real time. So we have such a great diverse audience with us today. There aren't too many places where you could find doctors and people from around the world. We had someone coming from Portugal. We have a leading optometrist, a leading cardiologist, a second-year optometrist and technologist, enterprise level businessmen. We have people here that have really come from all different walks of life. So what we're going to do during this session is we're going to really focus in on how the Omniverse city is being built for models. And there's all different models in the Omniverse city. We have obviously we have a shopping area that's designed to facilitate the model of e-commerce, which will be evolving into v-commerce. Just to break that down very simply, e-commerce is I go to a website, I see a product, I read a description, put it in my cart, I buy it. Pretty straightforward. V-commerce, you have all sorts of new layers you can add to the buying experience. I can interact with a product virtually. I can learn about it. I can watch product simulations about it. I could put it on my avatar. These are new options, and there's a lot of new options here. So, what we've done in Omniverse City is we've built a lot of these options into our own environment so that rather than you really having to imagine this stuff, which can be really challenging if you haven't seen what's possible yet, you could just use it. You could just get in, get your hands dirty, get your little avatar suited up to go. So I'm going to bring on stage with me Dr. Irina Yakubin. Oh, I don't see her. Okay. So I'm going to bring on stage with me Jeff Goldstein. Now, Jeff, just to kind of introduce him to you, met us recently through, I see Irina, she's backstage. All right, I'll bring you next. Jeff is new to Omniverse City during a onboarding session that we recently did. So Jeff, you got an invite to the stage. You just click accept, and we'll bring you right on. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll actually still invite you. I'm going to bring Irina on. Irina's actually hidden from the stage, so let me show her on stage. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't see you. Let me try this. So weird. Okay, here we go. There you go. You were hiding on me. Hey, hide and seek in the metaverse, new game.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. So one of my favorite parts about exploring the Omniverse city is actually doing it with our user. So if you can share your screen.
Absolutely. Let's see. Let me see if I can do that specific tab. There we go. Oh. Yeah, I had just gotten on. I was so excited.
Yeah. So, Dr. Yakubin, Irina. Today you're Irina, right? You're Irina, the avatar.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Talk to me a little bbit about like where you normally go in Omniverse City. And, I know that you're looking to build out your business and your practice as an optometrist who's, new, you have like a new fresh set of eyes, no pun intended. As an optometrist, as somebody looking to open a business, talk to us a little bit about what your vision is for the metaverse and, how you can see yourself kind of building your dream business in the metaverse.
Absolutely. So one thing I'm really passionate about is patient education. So I really want the metaverse to serve as, this patient education hub where patients, or actually the general public, can get the correct information so they know where to go.
Now, if you hit escape, you can go to settings and you can lower your volume.
There we go.
The team is working on actually setting it at a much lower setting. So Sorry, guys. You get the wake up call when you enter, and then just click return, bottom right.
Let me make sure.
Yeah, if you turn the volume down in general, it'd be fine.
Resume. All right, where shall I go?
So patient education. So what are some, or just public education actually, what are some of the, so why don't we go into the optical shop, second building on the right.
Oh.
It's okay. And a couple of things, you can move naturally. Some people are getting, more comfortable, but you could also double click, like you see that little circle in front of the optical store. You could
Yep.
actually double click that, not that one, that's your map down. There you go. Double click on the little white circle on the floor, and then your avatar will just go there. So that's a new feature that we added, and would be a double click. So that
Oh,
this
there
way,
we
if
go.
you're learning how to navigate, it allows you to move a little more quickly.
Yeah, so I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I'm probably one of the first beta users of the metaverse, like or the optical metaverse. So I'm fairly used to being around, and we're in an optical shop. It's so beautiful.
So with the new multiplayer feature, which is going to be live, as of next week, if this was your shop, you would be able to invite patients to come in, or the public. We always talk about patients because a lot of times we're working with doctors who are looking to engage with their existing patient base. But let's face it, you grow by connecting with new people. And these may not be people who are even proactive about their vision care. Actually, the majority of people we're finding aren't really clear on why they need an annual exam, and what this means for them, how to be more proactive. They just don't even understand all of these different, there's just so many factors, not just getting an annual exam, but understanding your visual health, talking about things like myopia, low vision. These are all things I know you're super passionate about, and you talk to people every day about this. So do you feel like in general, people who sit in your chair are really knowledgeable about their vision?
Honestly, a lot of the time, no. A lot of the time, people are learning things from me and asking me questions. And I'm hoping that they're able to sort of retain what, I tell them and kind of apply that for future reference.
So if you were able to, have them join you here, and especially this younger demographic, which you understand because you're closer to it than, a lot of optometrists have been practicing for a while. So you really truly understand this younger audience who just, they want to communicate in more fun ways. How could you see meeting in an optical shop like this and talking about the need for glasses, or, really addressing your low vision, or talking about like myopia? How could you see a space like this helping you with that?
Well, some of the beauty that of the Omniverse City is that it can integrate with the AI. So having like little learning modules that people can kind of go through on their own and making a game out of it, or having like a little of, learn about your eyes event, and just having people, come in either at a specific time or even just on their own to wandering in and learning is, I think, ultimately my goal.
You couldn't be more right. And, if you run an ad as an eye care professional, especially if you have a business, and, people just, they call, or they, show up, or they flood your website, even if your marketing is effective, it could be disruptive to a business that's already kind of, maxed out. And with staff shortages, that's not difficult for you to be in that situation. So what's really great about the metaverse, and even platforms like where we are right now, which is a 2.5 platform on AirMeet, is you can just open up the communication to your community, and they can come to a place where they can, get the information that they need, either on demand, which a lot of people will do today. They'll be watching this video and like learning a little bit more, or they can come live, and you'll learn a lot about how important things are to people by how asynchronous they are. So, if people show up at the time that you say you're doing these things, they're probably really passionate about whatever it is that you're sharing. So I'm going to take over the screen and I'm going to take people into an area that I'm very excited about that I know you were a big part in helping us to develop. And it's funny because you helped us to develop this not just in the metaverse, but before the metaverse, which was the virtual trade show. You know, the optical metaverse event is going live again in
Mhm.
July. You are able to come now, even if you are not a traditional optical brand. We've been opening this up even to, there's a lot of people developing smart eyewear, VR headsets, applications that are VR, AR specific. So we're just really excited that we can start to merge technology providers with our industry so that they're not just they're not just seeing solutions that have been introduced inside of the industry, which can, we have lots of great software providers, but there's a lot of options that are not available within the industry. A lot of these businesses, they wouldn't come to a physical event for the industry because they wouldn't pay, you know, that kind of money to have access to an industry that they're still trying to break into. So, whether you're and you could speak to this, Arena, because you were with us during developing my vision show. Talk about how some of the innovative newcomers were using the Omniverse city, like companies like MD Elite. I mean, they brought a new IPL to the market, which isn't just good for optical; it's actually good for the aesthetics community as well. Talk a little bit about how some of these new people who were coming in and breaking into the market. Um, weren't you interested? Like how many new products there were that we didn't even know about?
Absolutely. And as a starting out as a new grad, so I started working with Charlene right before I graduated school or optometry school, and I did graduate in 2020, so pretty much at the height in the middle of the pandemic. So my ability to sort of go out and explore and learn about different brands was limited to, social media and what I could Google for myself. But if you don't know what you don't know, so I didn't know to look for these brands. But when we started developing, my vision show and later the Omniverse City, that's where I got that exposure. So those brands were able to sort of give themselves that exposure to at a time when a lot of people weren't necessarily able to physically travel and weren't able to necessarily may not have known to look for those brands because they all congregated in one place.
And one of my favorite parts of the industry is there's just so many amazing fashion designers. And, when you go to Mito, you go to Silmo, you go to these, international shows, you see so much more than you do at the local shows. And the reason for that is these are small companies. I mean, they're just breaking out. They're artists that have a vision and a dream and they're trying to make a business out of their passion, which can be tough if you don't have the resources to fly to the US and find distribution. It's not that they wouldn't sell the product here, it's just that they can't get it here. So what we're excited about more than anything that we're releasing at this event today is the fashion show. Now, this is not really accessible through the main build. You can get there right now, but you got to really work for it. But we will be making this a lot easier to find um, when it's available for our event. Right now, we just have it available so I could take people like I'm doing right now, so I could show you where it is. But when we go live in July, you'll be able to go directly here. And our vision is to have eyewear designers from around the world and fashion designers from around the world showcase their amazing designs. We're gonna, if you were with us earlier today, you heard Gotham talking about metahumans and how we're going to incorporate that into our build. That's where you're going to see it. In July, you'll see metahuman avatars in different eyewear designs and fashion designs from around the world. And if you're a fashion brand, and you don't really have the resources to showcase your eyewear or your, fashions as a booth holder, which is where we just left. That's where our booth area will be. You'll be able to showcase your fashions and your eyewear in these gorgeous displays. So we're really trying to make this form of advertising and communication accessible to everyone. So a little bit about some new places here. If you're, I'm going to actually, oh, I have Dr. Reese raising his hand. I'm going to hand him the mic. Thank you so much for joining me, Arena.
Mhm.
So when opportune and appropriate, I don't want to break your flow, but can you talk a little bit about the back end and integrations? So if you want to stick with retail, though, my area of interest is in a different direction, but sticking with retail, if somebody wants to do order fulfillment and, money transfers and all of those basic physiologies of running a business, how does your back end operate and how swiftly can you innovate to API or patch somebody's idiosyncratic legacy systems into your system?
That is such a great question. And I want to answer it in a couple of different stages because it has a layer of answer. Now if you notice here in the bottom left, and this may happen to you when you're using the platform. So just so you know, it's not your system. If you look to the bottom left, you could see here, we just have a poor connection to the GPU that we're using. That is part of the back end. So I'll start there, Dr. Reese. We are using what's called pixel streaming. You could see this signal strengthening, and then my images get a little better. So the reason we use pixel streaming is we found the large majority, almost all of the users that are coming here do not have a gaming laptop. They do not have a gaming video card. They do not even understand how to find, nor do they want to invest in a computer that's going to be able to run something like Omniverse City. There are a lot of platforms out there that are built on Unity that are what's called WebGL accessible. So that means that anybody can pull up a browser and go there if they can download it and if they can use the graphics card on their computer to manage it, which most people can't do. So we did not want to build a world that was inaccessible. That defeats the purpose. That's the reason everyone's saying the metaverse isn't here yet. So we leveraged pixel streaming, which is not easy to do because you've got to build in layers to allow the integrations to work, to your point. Now, this store, which is from Bruce Carnahan, it has probably 15 integrations. Bruce's job was to tell us what his vision is. His vision was, number one, I want people to come in and I want them to have the words E to interact. If you notice, we don't really have those words in other places in Omniverse City. We may add them, but we haven't yet. But Bruce wanted those words. Just like if you want a word on your website that says click here, Bruce was able to say to the team that's part of the subscription model that he's on, I wanted to say, click E to load the screen. Then I want to play a YouTube video, which we have here. Bruce made a YouTube video, and he can update this video anytime he wants, and it will play his live video here in the build. So now he has a way to update his content in real time without including our team, which he was really excited about. And now we have a book a call button. Now, this is not Bruce's book a call button. He didn't put this here. We did. But we did integrate with his Calendly system. Now, this integration is native, meaning it goes right into the same screen. So if I want to book a call with Bruce, and I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to tie up his calendar, but I could do it right here and then close out, and I'm right where I left off in Omniverse City. Bruce has like 5 or 10 different links that he usually has to share through a link tree. So we were able to incorporate all of those into Omniverse City, including Amazon, which is right here. So now we can drive traffic to his Amazon page. And he has another website that he uses. It's not Amazon. It's called Apricot Rocket. It's an unrelated marketplace. So Omniverse City, wrong book. Omniverse City helped Bruce to connect to his listing Oh, I guess he put them both on Amazon now. So he does have access to the marketplace through back here. Oh, right here. These socks. These socks were on the marketplace. So this is a different marketplace that he belongs to. We didn't build this website, but we did connect his socks to it. Now, that's phase one. That's where we're at now. We are finding that a lot of the platforms that are out there are not as functional as we would like to be known to be. So we have a choice. We can either continue to create all these integrations and explain to our users, okay, maybe you went to Amazon or maybe you went to a different platform and maybe the experience wasn't continuous, but that's just the nature of the beast. We've decided that that's not going to be acceptable for much longer. People are going to expect more frictionless commerce experiences. So we have integrated with a Web3 infrastructure, not commerce, not crypto, just the fact that we can use token gating and cross currency gateways to allow multiple users to use multiple currencies and not have to negotiate with each other how it works. Before I go any further with that, because it's the real answer to your question for the future, I don't want to go too much further in that explanation without taking a pause and making sure I'm answering your question up until this point.
So far, so good. And again, I don't want to distort your flow, but at the end of the day, for me in clinical services, integrating with hyper confidential systems like electronic medical records and multiple layers of firewalls is either easy or a mission critical rate limiting step. So I get integrating with somebody's legacy website. I get integrating with their store, if you will. But when you're dealing with, we'll call it the fiduciary aspects of money or of confidential information, how far along in your development are you to partner with or deal with all of those intermediaries?
That is an excellent question. And just know that the Omniverse City isn't just about what we've developed natively. It's about the collaborations that we have. And one of the collaborations I'm extremely excited about is a relationship with Metakeep. Metakeep is a very advanced Web3 infrastructure and team. The blockchain is the answer to your question, in my opinion, Dr. Reese. If somebody has an EHR, electronic health records, or EMS, electronic management system, or any one of these platforms for their specific industry, they may or may not get access to that information because some EHR programs provide it, some do not. So we cannot make your EHR work with you. What we can do is we can help you to begin creating your own backup on the blockchain, which is a requirement. Because what if you can't get the data out of your EHR? Or what if the power goes out? How do you get access to your sensitive patient information? And our vision, and we're actually building this out for a doctor right now. Her concern was, I do telemedicine. Can you help with me? We're working with her with Doxy.me, but she's actually migrating after she uses her existing Doxy.me utility. She wants to have us learn the functionality that her patients have and build a similarly secure telemedicine portal on the Omniverse City. Because of our partnerships with telemedicine platforms that have modular components that are very secure, HIPAA compliant, enterprise level, and can be programmed by our software team, which you met Gotham, he's the head of that team. They can natively build that into this platform, and we're going to. But we need to understand the requirements of the person. Now, if you're not an expert in telemedicine law and in privacy law, which you likely are not because those rules change drastically, we're very excited about our partnership with Mike Kasdan and his team. He is a lawyer. He does work with IP, trademark, and he has an entire team in his firm that focuses on telemedicine law. Not all of these laws are very clear. They're certainly not clear nationally. You're lucky if they're clear locally. So if you really want to do this, you would speak to him first. You would tell him your plan. And then he would tell you, first of all, what's going to work and not work within the, legal system of what is and is not approved based on the revolving rules of telemedicine architecture, which really got busted open during COVID, from what I can see. Before I go any further, do you agree or disagree with anything I'm saying?
I'm tracking. So I just want to make sure I heard correctly. You, as a vendor, have had conversation with Medicaid. Is that correct? Medicaid?
No.
What did I hear you say?
I have no reason to communicate with Medicaid unless Medicaid wants to come to me as a provider. I'm working with doctors. I'm working with optometrists. I'm working.
I heard you say the word Medicaid. That's why I'm clarifying.
Medikeep, Keep. Yeah, Medikeep. Sorry.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay.
Very different. Okay. So, and let me explain why Medikeep is so important. Blockchain is great. A lot of people want access to it, but in order to start using it, you need a wallet system. And if you've ever tried to use these wallet systems before, you know that they can be very cumbersome. God forbid you lose your code. I mean, getting into it is very difficult. So Medikeep has a very easy, frictionless authentication system. Their team is insane. They have built secure systems for leading platforms like Twitter, WhatsApp. They are as legit as it gets when it comes to software and security and authentication and all of this. And they have been an incredible support system, building out the infrastructure of not just the Omniverse city, but many other NFT marketplaces. They're working with cities. They're working with large scale enterprise organizations, because everyone has the same concern, Dr. Reese. How do I manage my growing mountain of information that's all over the place? How do I keep it secure? How do I keep it private? And how do I still give people some sort of access so they don't feel like I'm blocking them from, getting the information that they need so that they can be informed and proactive? I mean, especially in the healthcare sector, this has just been it's been a challenge. It's probably not a challenge anybody tried to create. A lot of people think, oh, they don't want me having this information. I think it's just because of the systems, it's very difficult to create the security and the accessibility. So because there's so many new tools that are out there, you can really reimagine that. I can't tell you right now, this moment, how I would build it, because I don't know what your real goals and objectives are, but that's how we work. And I'm really glad you're asking this question, because it showcases how we build. And, Bruce can tell you, he didn't come to me saying, I want a store with 3 compartments where you could shop, connect, and play, and a YouTube integration and all these things. You're right. Those are legacy integrations, but the logic and the experience design was very new. And it wouldn't be much different as a medical provider. The responsibility for us would just be much greater, because now you're talking about people's medical information. Does that help you to kind of like visualize that whole thing a little better? Hello?
All good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Did you have any other questions? Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. So
yeah, I don't want to take up any more of the bandwidth. We'll have our time.
No, it was a great question though. Thank you. So does anybody else out there have any questions or want to share? I'll just kind of start wrapping up. And one of the things that we wanted to achieve today was making sure that each and every one of you knows, no matter what role you want to play in the metaverse or in Omniverse City, we're here to help you. If you've ever communicated with me through LinkedIn or through this platform or through any of our other social media channels, you know that me and my team, we're very responsive. And the reason for that is, I mean, there may come a day when I won't be able to do that. But for today, I really enjoy being able to listen to your needs and meet them in real time. When you have a world that is moving this fast, when you have a economy, a community that's moving this fast, it is really important that you keep your finger on the pulse. So that's what we're here to do. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to meet you in the lounge and answer the questions for you. Enjoy the rest of your day.